So we are continuing with the teachings of Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj from the book I Am That. And in this, the questioner is making a statement. He's basically saying, I'll just read it out. Consciousness seems to be somehow here and now, in a single point of time and space. But you seem to suggest that consciousness too is universal, which makes it timeless, spaceless, and impersonal. I can somehow understand that there is no contradiction between the timeless and the spaceless and the here and now, but impersonal consciousness I cannot fathom. To me, consciousness is always focalized, centered, individualized, a person. So basically, the question is whether the person that we experience, this sense of personal identification, is it real or not? And the thing is that we spend time in three different states of consciousness. Now, one is the waking state, another is the dream state, and third is the deep sleep. So, in the waking state, there is this character with name, form, and profession, all the attributes. Now, when we go to sleep, a new character emerges. Sometimes some attributes may be similar, but the character who's in the dream considers itself to be the real character. Now, the dream is a bit fuzzy, so that character does not have the solidity of the waking state. But yet the dream character is there, the dream person is there, and we spend a lot of time as that person. So is the dream character real, or is this character real which is here? And what about deep sleep? In deep sleep, there is no character. And a majority of this back and forth question answer sequences are just related to this fact that the questioner is confused. He says that there is a centered consciousness through which all the experiences happen. And to which Maharaj says that, are you always conscious of yourself as the person? Now see, this is our experience. Okay? We don't remember all the time of ourselves as person. And this is what, the image of us as the person is not a continuity. Of course, in deep sleep, we don't experience ourselves as a person. In dream sleep, we are a different entity, and in waking state, we come back to the same. But the thing is that even in waking state, are you always conscious of yourself as the person? And you will notice that you are not conscious of yourself as a person all the time. Because you cannot remember yourself. You're depending on memory, and you cannot remember yourself as a person all the time. So say, if I ask you, what did you have for lunch 4 days back? You cannot remember that. So memory says that, okay, I don't remember that. That is not a continuous experience. So memory is not a very reliable factor in that. Now see your sequence throughout the day. What happens? Your day starts, you get up in the morning, your day starts. And then a series of events happen. There are thoughts where you lose yourself completely to them. Then abruptly you remember that you are thinking. So, as a conscious entity, you're also aware that you are being conscious of other objects. The objects here can be thoughts or other physical objects as well. So there are gaps, there are intervals where you do not experience yourself as the person, you experience yourself as the thought, as thinking. And that involvement in thinking becomes our suffering. Because the person is not a continuous experience. The sense of personal identification is not a continuous experience. How can it be real? You see, the concept we have established here is that for a person, for something to be real, it has to be a continuous experience. If something is not continuous, then if something is transitory, then how can it be real? You see the character here in the waking state, you are aware that you're conscious. But in deep sleep, you're not. And to which the questioner here says that I was unconscious. Hence, I did not know myself as the person in deep sleep. But you see, he's talking about this statement in the waking state. And he's relying on memory to conclude that he did not exist in the unconscious, that he was unconscious in the deep sleep. When you are in deep sleep, you don't say I am in deep sleep. Only when you wake up, then you say that, okay, I slept. So in deep sleep, what you experience is yourself, is you experience your own disappearance. So in consciousness, appearance and disappearances happen. But there is an underlying witness which is impersonal, which is simply witnessing the entire phenomena. And the witness is not personal because it does not create a filtered perception. It is only the person which creates a filtered perception. Now, this topic is a bit complex to understand. It requires some pondering. So you can refer to this video again if you want to get into, if you want to examine this. It requires a little personal investigation. So I'll just read out what Maharaj says. He says, since you admit that as a person, you have only intermittent existence, can you tell me what are you in the intervals between experiencing yourself as a person? To which the questioner replies, I am, but not as a person, since I am not conscious of myself in the intervals. I can only say that I exist, but not as a person. To which again Maharaj replies, shall we call it impersonal existence? So you see, to explain this, to basically simplify this, I would put it like this, that whatever experiences come, whatever experiences happen, they happen in consciousness. So in that sense, the consciousness is fundamental. And even to the extent that you see your own appearance and disappearance in consciousness only. As I mentioned earlier, in the waking state, the character, the sense of personal identification is dense. So you experience yourself as the person. In deep sleep, you experience yourself as the person again, but that person is a bit fuzzy because the mind is not that active in dream state. And in deep sleep, the mind is not absent, I would say, but there is no movement. Hence, what is witnessed is the absence of the subject object split. I'm repeating again, what is witnessed is the absence of the subject object split, the absence of objects. So the absence does not mean unconsciousness, because you can only speak about unconsciousness based on memory, and memory, as we have concluded, is not a reliable indicator. I hope this is not getting too complicated. It is a difficult subject. This book, I Am That, is loaded with a lot of information. And every time you read it, you gain new knowledge. You see, individuality is only a sense. You have been told that you are an individual living in the world in separation. And that is the belief you have acquired. And that belief has created a sense of separation. In that sense of separation comes suffering. Because when I'm an individual, I feel I'm limited. And when I'm limited, I feel threatened. I feel insecure. And then I want to do whatever it is possible for me to remove that insecurity. And that kind of thing sets me on the hamster wheel or on a continuous chase for security, either as wealth or as fame or as adulation. Because this false image of individuality that builds up, it is very demanding. It is a never fulfilling void. So you keep on, you keep on purchasing material, you keep on acquiring positions, power, prestige, whatever you think of. But still, the void within, it does not resolve. It does not fill up. The individuality is only brought about by thought. Now suppose, if your memory was magically wiped out, say completely erased, what would remain? You would not know yourself as the individual, but something would remain. And what remains is the pure being. And that is what Maharaj calls as the impersonal existence. The impersonal aspect of awareness, or I am.